Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, dear viewers and listeners. Welcome back to yet another episode of Beauty Lies Beyond podcast with me, Miriam Rose. I am excited to be here yet again to share with you the wisdom and the knowledge that I have learned over my very many years. So today we're going to talk about quite a lot of things. I have packaged these in very small topics, so I will go through them pretty quickly. So the first is something that is very exciting to me. I have been attending workshops by Pranic Healing East Africa, and I am now a certified energy healer, a pranic healer. That is very exciting. That has helped me heal people. It has helped me heal myself. And if you would love to have an energy healing, a pranic healing with me, link in the description below to book a session with me. So that's the first thing. The other thing is just last week, this weekend, I attended a workshop, Achieving Oneness with the Higher Soul. So this was very profound for me because I learned so many things, and some of those things I want to share with you today. So Grandmaster Chua Sui has, in this workshop or in this book, has explained so many things. One of them is the purpose of our lives. So I don't know whether you have been those people who wonder what their purpose is. Why did I incarnate? There are people who don't ask. I personally had that question. So I really needed to understand why I incarnated. And long story short, I understood something. So I have so many books. I'm a teacher, so bear with me. I have all these books that I have all this wisdom in. So the first thing I learned was that every soul, so we've spoken about this in my previous videos, but allow me to just repeat today. So a soul comes from source, from God. I always give the example of a light, like the one I'm using at the studio. So imagine this big, beautiful, like sun or light is God. And then there's a divine spark. So a spark, like let's say a fire. See how when fire is burning, like especially firewood fire, there is sparks of fire. So imagine one spark is the soul, and that is the spark that ejects itself from the fire itself or the light or from God. Then after that divine spark, you become a higher soul. So most people in the esoteric field talk of the higher self. These are synonymous. So the higher self and the higher soul. So the higher self has all the knowledge. It has everything that every knowledge, all wisdom, all experiences. But then what happens is that it steps itself down, like in how electricity, after it's generated, it is stepped down so that it gets to 40 volts, like that. So it steps itself down into a body, which now becomes the Jivatma, which is now the incarnated soul. So me, I am the Jivatma. I have a higher soul, a divine spark, and then God. So now the purpose of the incarnated soul is threefold. So the moment that you achieve these three purposes, or you're able to master the three things that I'm going to read, then you're good to go. You're good to never have to incarnate again. So at this point, I'm hoping that we are not discussing reincarnation. If reincarnation is still a topic for you, then you need to research a bit more. Like it's now not something I'm going to keep discussing, because I've discussed it over and over again. We have justified it. We've seen the logic behind reincarnation. So now we are talking of the soul before it gets into other bodies. If we don't achieve these three purposes, we have to take another body. In a previous episode, I talked about the distinction between a soul and a body. Please watch that to get more information. So the three things that this embodied soul or the incarnated soul needs to understand or to master is divine light or divine intelligence, divine love, and divine power. So what happens? is that once the soul comes into the body, it starts on its journey of evolution. So once it comes in, it comes with these 3 goals. So for example, under divine light, the soul needs to have or master wisdom, knowledge, understanding, clarity, focus. So if you ever look at yourself, the incarnated soul, and realize that you have these things, or maybe interested in knowledge, some people are not. And it's fine because they are just on that stage of their evolution. Maybe you have understanding. And this is even why we pray to God for understanding, knowledge, focus, clarity. That means you are well on your way to evolving towards mastering divine light in you. Then, the second thing is divine love, is the other thing the soul in its evolutionary journey needs to master. The qualities of divine love are compassion. So compassion for yourself, compassion for others, compassion for animals. Do you just kill animals without compassion, without following ahimsa or non-violence? Even if it's for food, there are still strategies that need to be followed when working with animals. Do you have mercy? Do you have forgiveness? We have spoken about forgiveness in another episode. We realize that it is very hard to forgive. Forgiveness does not exonerate the other person. It frees you. It is your path to freedom. And you don't have to wait for the other person to apologize. You just forgive and free yourself. We've spoken about that. Empathy is another aspect of divine love. And finally, unconditional love and acceptance. So an example of unconditional love is parents with their kids. Like a newborn baby, that feeling for the ones who have been parents, that feeling that you feel for your baby, that you would actually give up your life for your child, that's like an inkling of unconditional love. So imagine being forever and ever in unconditional love, no matter how many times people spit on you or say bad things about you, or life throws challenges at you, you're just in Zen, you're just in unconditional love and acceptance. So if you get there, you have mastered divine love. And then the third thing is divine power. So divine power for me is when we were being taught in this class, I was like, wow, I guess this is what I came here for. Because I can give myself, let's say out of a 10, I can give myself maybe above average in divine love and divine light. And why I would insist on the many incarnations is because this thing, you can't do it in 100 years. It's evolutions that you have had to do for multiple lifetimes, many 100 years. And that's just an average. So it's things that I have had to cultivate over and over again. So for some people, how you gauge is, for example, compassion. You can check if your propensity to compassion for yourself or others is easier. Does it come easy to you, or is it hard? So depending on how it happens for you, that means you've probably mastered it. You don't need to learn it. Anyway, so divine power, what you need to do to master divine power is overcome laziness, overcome procrastination, overcome poverty, develop success mindset, develop physical focus, one-pointedness, and also develop dynamic energies. I will not go into that because if you want to learn more about this, you will have to take the workshop. And I will put the description, the link and the information in the description. I really highly encourage anyone who feels called to do this workshop. It was mind-blowing. I've done many things in my life. This one was just on top of the list because I learned so many things, and it's very simplified stuff. So, for example, overcoming procrastination is something that we keep learning. I am a mindset coach, and I have had sessions and coaching lessons and programs about procrastination. And this is something that people struggle with. But if you master laziness, if you master procrastination, if you master those things, then you're well on your way to evolving and getting out of the cycle of the ocean of samsara or birth and rebirth, and you master yourself and you go to your higher soul and you go back to God. That's the plan. So these things might look like they are not for you. You know how people, I meet so many people who think spirituality is for those people over there, but us people who are in the office and in corporate are over here. We don't want these things. We don't understand these things. Now you know. If you want to master your soul, if you want to evolve, if you want your life to become simpler and easier, you have to master these things, regardless of where you are in life. It's not even about a God. It's not even a God conversation or a religious conversation. These are things everyone goes through. Laziness, poverty, procrastination, success. Everyone wants those things. So that's part of your journey, the journey of evolution of your soul. So I really needed to share that. The other thing I want to share is something called the Great Invocation. So the Great Invocation is a prayer. It's a very powerful prayer. Everything I'm ever going to teach in Beauty Lies Beyond podcast or share is geared towards alleviating suffering for humanity, giving hope, giving love, everything that will help us just stop suffering, because I think that's the purpose of my life. It's something that I'm very, very passionate about. So these are tools. I'm always going to give you tools that will help you if you follow them, if you feel your soul is inclined to following them, that will help you and also your families, your businesses, your friends, your children to alleviate pain and suffering and also evolve yourselves towards God, towards back home. So the Great Invocation, we are going to put it on the screen for you, is something I would, like, from the bottom of my heart, urge you to just recite as often as you can. I'm going to recite it. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of every person, every being. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of every person, every being. Let love descend on earth. May the world teacher return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the will of every person, every being. The purpose which the holy masters know and serve, let goodwill and the will to do good descend on earth. From the center, which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light, love, and power manifest the divine plan on earth. So if you recite the Great Invocation, you're well on your way towards getting the three things we talked about: divine love, divine light, and divine power. So the more you invoke these things, you instill in yourself high vibration. I literally can feel a vibration. Just now when I finished reciting this, I just felt something. So the more you do it, the more you recalibrate your cells, you recalibrate your vibration. And once you rise, everything in you rises. Your home rises, your family rises, your businesses rise. So this is actually for your overall well-being. So another thing I would love to share from this book, Achieving Oneness with the Higher Soul, so that your higher soul or your higher self, is the 5 virtues. So there's something else I learned in class. You know how we think, or we used to think, or we still think, that to become spiritual or to become godly, you have to go to the temples, the mosque, the church, and that only happens, and then only when you go in front of the deity or God or the cross or Jesus, that's when you're holy. Or people also believe or think that when you pray, you're a prayerful person, you're meditating. For us who meditate, you're waking up at 3 a.m. to pray, your life will just change. But we've also seen people whose lives do not change regardless or in spite of doing all those things. Do you ever wonder why, in spite of being a very prayerful person, going to the temple, going to the church, praying, waking up at 4 a.m., meditating for a million years, like you're just that Zen person, life still does not change for you? This is why. For you to become a fully evolved soul, it is not just enough to be all those things, to be meditative, to be prayerful. You also have to build character. Because, as we saw in the first 3 light, love, and divine power, character is also important. You have to become a person with a character that is basically good. And I'm going to read, you have to have good character. I will read for you something called the 5 virtues that are taught in this book as well, or in this workshop, that help you towards becoming a person of good character, because you have to be a fully molded soul, a fully molded individual. So the 5 virtues, I will not go into details, I'll just read them, are loving kindness and non-injury, generosity and non-stealing, accurate perception, correct expression and non-falsehood, moderation and non-excessiveness, constancy of aim and effort, and non-laziness. So if you master the 5 virtues, then you're well on your way to becoming a highly powerful, highly successful human being and an evolved soul. The other thing that I'm going to talk about is the golden rule. Some people know about it, some people do not. So this is also another way to build your character, to become a fully evolved soul. So the golden rules speaks about, or says, do not do unto others what you do not want them to do unto you. And the reverse is, do unto others what you would want them to do unto you. So if, for example, you want people to smile at you more, or you want people to be kind to you, or you want people to stop gossiping about you, you also have to not gossip about them. You have to smile at people more. You have to be kind. So anything that you want others to do unto you, you do unto others, and vice versa. If you don't want something done unto you, don't do it to others. Jesus taught this 2,000 years ago. Buddha taught this. All the great masters taught this. The Master Chua is teaching this. My Guru Paramahamsa Viswananda teaches this, but we don't practice it. That is something that we need to call ourselves to, like a meeting, and ask ourselves, do we really want what we ask for? When we go to prayer and we ask God for help, do we really want help? Because if he says, okay, I'm going to help you, but be this kind of a person, don't do unto others what you don't want them to do unto you. Love others as you love yourself. And then we don't do that. Why do we expect anything different? So if you want prosperity, if you want money, if you want success in your life, you have to be charitable. And also don't forget that you have to have the right intention. So it's not a bargain, it's not a transaction, like let me help these people so that I can have money. The law will still work, but remember the intention behind it is going to be what you're reaping. If you don't want to be cheated, do not cheat others. If you do not want your goods to be stolen, do not take what does not belong to you. The golden rule is actually the spiritual technique to create your future and destiny. So if you want a different destiny, create it. If you want a different future, create it. The other thing I want to talk about is the law of karma. I keep repeating this because I increasingly feel like it's very misunderstood. And it sounds like this very big concept. But the law of karma is also what Jesus Christ taught. You reap what you sow. So it's not just going to the shamba and planting rice and expecting beans, because you won't get the beans. There's that. But then there is also you reap what you sow with words, what you say, with thoughts, what you think about other people, and also with intentions. What do you intend for people? So there is the 5 virtues. There is exercises that you will taught after this lesson. That there's another book. I don't have it here. I'll bring it in another episode, which you're given a certain sort of a mantra or a paragraph or a prayer that you have to do every day for 7 times. You repeat it 7 times, where you seek for grace and guidance from God to help you have positive thoughts, positive words, positive and helpful intentions. And This is where now the collaboration between you and the divine comes in. So now when we go to the church, to the temple, to the meditation, it's because now we are going with a purpose. We are going to ask to be assisted to build our characters. Because if you think negatively of other people, even thinking, we have to think positively of other people. If you catch yourself thinking negatively, stop yourself. This is what mastery is about. We have to master our thoughts, control them. We have to master what we say, even if it's a joke. I learned over the weekend that even saying curse words, because I do that a lot. Curse words I'm still planting a seed, and I'll have to harvest it. Even if I say something as a joke, it's something. If you've ever noticed, masters and yogis who are very zen, they don't talk a lot. They say very helpful things. They are very intentional about what they say. They don't just speak. That is the reason. It's coming to me now. I'm like, oh, this is why these people are very quiet. They're very silent, because they don't want to plant unnecessary things that then they'll have to reap later. I don't know if that makes sense. So let us try and be very intentional about the things we say. For example, I learned something from our teacher, Madam Shawana. She taught me when she came to one of my episodes where I actually started all this journey. I was telling her something about money. And I was like, I don't have money to do this. Then she said, don't say that. Don't say it like that. Because when you say, I don't have money, you're planting that seed and it's going to come back to you. Say you don't have the budget for it. And it's true, because when I started saying that, my mind shifted. So I usually feel every time I say I don't have the budget for it, my mind, the way it registers is I have budget for other things, but I don't have budget for this. So my mind does not register lack, it just registered calculations. That's a thing I've practiced, and it actually works. So another thing I want to share, if you ever feel or find difficulty in, let's say, forgiving someone or not being able to stop negative thoughts flowing. So, for example, if you have a grudge towards someone, or someone has really, truly hurt you, and they walk into a room, you can't stop yourself. You're feeling like you want to just punch them, and all these thoughts start coming up. It's okay, by the way. Don't beat yourself up for those thoughts, because that is lack of compassion for yourself. So that's counterintuitive. What you do is something we also learned, which is called Atma Namaste. So Atma is the soul. Namaste is recognition and acknowledgement of the divinity in the other person, because every person here is a soul. What we see is the casing. So the soul is very pure. It is the essence of God. We saw that. So what Atma Namaste helps do, you look at them into their eyes, and you just say Atma Namaste. Even if they're not in your presence, if you feel negativity coming up, just visualize them and say Atma Namaste to them. Or you can visualize a light coming out of them, because the light is not who they are. So you can just visualize a light and see that light and say Atma Namaste to that light. So that is something that a tool that you can use, and do that repeatedly. And you will see the change in yourself. So if it's your boss, or if it's your child, anything, just say Atma Namaste. Or even if it's not something that's made you angry or negative. Like now I came into the lift in the morning, just met someone in the lift, and in my heart I didn't have to tell them Atma Namaste, because I don't want them to think I'm weird. I just, in my heart, acknowledged Atma Namaste to them. And the air shifts, the vibration completely shifts. So that's something that I want you to pick. Atma Namaste to all the souls in your life. Another thing that I learned, again, from this Achieving Oneness with the Higher Soul workshop, was something that can really help you detach and forgive and have less negative thoughts. Everything we've spoken about, it is called I am the soul. This is your recognition that you're not your mind, you're not those thoughts, you're not the pain that you're feeling. If you're going through pain and suffering, anything that is of the body is not who you are. However, it doesn't mean that you neglect the body, because you need the body for you to do these things. I need the body to be seated here. So the body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. We already know that. So we need to treat the body with kindness, compassion, and love. That notwithstanding, we need to know that we are not the body. When we pass on, the soul continues to live on. It's the body that dies. So one tool that I also learned that you will learn when you take this workshop is I am the soul. So the power of I am. All religions have this. I am is very powerful. I am that I am. So I am is the description of God. It's the description of the soul, the essence. So I'm going to read this as well. And this is another one that I would urge all of you to practice whenever you're feeling a type of way, whether it's in the morning, you're doing your meditation, or in the evening. This is something I'd want you to practice. I am that I am. I am not the body. I am not the emotions. I am not the thoughts. I am not the mind. The mind is only a subtle instrument of the soul. I am the soul. I am a spiritual being of divine intelligence, divine love, divine power. I am one with the higher soul. I am that I am. I am one with the divine spark. I am a child of God. I am connected with God. I am one with God. I am one with all. If you do that prayer or you recite that mantra, whatever you want to call it, you will start recalibrating your mind to start understanding who you truly are. And it will also help you to know who other people are in relation to you. So anything that we are struggling with in our character development, we will struggle less and less and less. So that's about it from this workshop. I, again, highly, highly, highly recommend it. If you're feeling, especially for seekers, if you're a seeker and you want to understand the connection of your soul, or you feel like you just need something to recharge you, attend this workshop. Again, the information about how to attend it will be in the description below and all my social media handles. What are angel numbers? Are you that person who sees 666 on number plates, 555, 999, 1111, 1212, or just numbers that look like they're in a pattern form? Those ones are called angel numbers. Well, they probably have many other terms, but I call them angel numbers. And they are the spirit's way or the divine's way of communicating to us. If you're a receptive person or your vibration is high, you are in tune with your higher soul. So your higher self or your guardian angels or the people on the spirit side who want to communicate with you may use numbers and numerals. We have an episode that we did on numerology. If you'd love to learn more about it, please tune in and learn more about your own numbers. And I will do a breakdown just now. So I'm going to break down my version of what those numbers mean. So I'll just work with the triple numbers for now. So if you see 111, it means new beginnings. 222 means partnership. 333 means you need to make a decision. You might be at a crossroads and you need to make a decision. 444 means you are on the right path. So it's a yes, it's a nod from the universe. 555 means change is coming. 666 means that you need to watch your thoughts for negative thoughts so that you don't spiral out of control. 777 shows that you have divine guidance. You're guided by the divine. 888 shows money. Money is coming to you, towards you. 999 means endings. Endings are coming. So if you'd love to learn more about that, feel free to Google. They are on the internet. Every time you see such a number, just Google. You see different meanings and you just need to pick one that you resonate with the most. And it's just your way of being guided, and be positive and just thank your angels or thank your guides. Just see it and thank them and say you're ready for whatever is coming. Open yourself up, because the more you're receptive, the more they communicate. If you'd love to receive any assistance from me, whether it's a coaching session or more sharing with you or for your family or for your workplaces, If you'd love to get more information from me, I'm happy to do that. Just reach out to me through my email address or my phone number, which I'm going to provide in the description below. And until next time, thank you for listening and watching. Atma Namaste.